How many four-letter words can I use on that?
Trying to switch to a double. Cheddar is driving. Nothing yet. Takedown, Michael Cheddar.
Oh, Nick, I'm a top guy, so I love top wrestling.
Hale trying to stick him. He does. Maximus Hale the fall.
So I think that wrestling is the greatest sport on earth.
What's going on, everybody? On3 Wrestling right after the NCAA Tournament in Philadelphia. My voice is hoarse because I was broadcasting the first two sessions for ScarletKnights.com, providing all the coverage for Rutgers University on radio this weekend. And I could not believe what I just saw yesterday in Philadelphia. Last night, Wyatt Hendrickson beats Gable Steveson to cap the night. Amazing final, amazing match, amazing moment. It's one of those moments where you ask yourself 10 years from now, where was I when I saw that? I saw it from the floor, from press row, standing on my chair. I couldn't believe it. I was next to my guy, Bill Evans of NJ.com, and we both stood up on our chairs because, you have a bunch of people on the floor seats. They're also standing up because you don't want to sit down when you're watching a guy like Gable Steveson wrestle. Final match of his career. Same goes for Wyatt Hendrickson, who was granted that extra year after having a great career at Air Force. And, it's as much as it's a feel-good story, it's considered the greatest upset that we've ever seen in NCAA wrestling tournament history. Now, we just saw Spencer Lee get knocked off, a three-time champion who was going for his fourth title to join that elite class a couple years ago in Tulsa, and he got pinned in the semifinals. But you see something like this where a guy like Gable Steveson, who was already a two-time champ, I think it was a 73-match winning streak. He's only lost twice in his career, just to one guy, Anthony Cassar, and that goes back to his freshman year, his true freshman year. But since then, he was dominant since he stepped on the mat in college in Minnesota, and there was only one man to beat him. And then since then, he's only won the Big Ten every year since then. He won the NCAA title. He would have won in 2020. Let's not pretend that he wouldn't have at that point. Of course, tournament was canceled amid COVID. They get the free year in 21. He wins the title. And then in 22, he wins it again, but subsequently retires following an Olympic gold medal the year before as well in 2021. So this guy goes, quote unquote, off into the sunset. He's a two-time champion, an Olympic gold medalist, still has that year of eligibility, but walks away from the sport, tries his hand at WWE, doesn't work out. He got signed by the Buffalo Bills this last preseason, and played a little bit of the preseason football, I should say, after never playing organized football in his life. This guy is a he's a transcendent superstar coming out of college wrestling because it goes across multiple sports, and he's a bigger name than others considering the circumstances in college wrestling. And sure enough, this is a guy who's been associated with John Jones as well. Like, is there an MMA career? Could he make it to the UFC one day? I believe if he goes that path, he will go to the UFC, and he could be a champion in that sport. So all the stars aligned for one more final match for Gable. Again, I know it was the second time it was his final match, but he comes out there, and then he looked better than ever after having a couple years off from college wrestling. And when he came back this year, not that it was a surprise, but it's like, all right, he's going to run it back one more year. Then everyone's like, oh, he's going to win. I know defending champion Greg Kirk Vliet's in this weight class. Didn't matter. Gable Steveson ran through everybody this year, including Kirk Vliet, as you saw in the Big Ten Finals a couple weeks ago, dominated him, and he dominated his way through this tournament as well. No one got close to beating him throughout this entire season. Basically, since Anthony Cassar beat him, no one was really that close to ever coming to knock off Gable Steveson. And Wyatt Hendrickson did that. There was so much else that went on during this NCAA tournament with great stories of guys, making runs on the backside, becoming All-Americans. There was heartbreak. There were other great finals. Carter Starocci won his fifth national title, which is never going to be done again. And all of a sudden, we are not talking about that because that was the first match of the night. And then it's like, okay, how do you top that? How do you top Carter Starocci winning a 5th title. What's going to be a bigger moment than that? Yeah, Gable winning at the end could be a thrilling match, but he's not going to lose to Wyatt Hendrickson, right? But he did. Wyatt Hendrickson did the unthinkable. A guy who never got to the national finals before, 3rd place the last 2 years when it came to finishing on the podium. That was with Air Force, and then sure enough, he gets it done, and he was taken down first. Now, looking at that match, I'm looking at it, and when he forces the first scramble in that first period, I'm like, oh, he's rolling through. He's on those ankles. Like, he's going to make this very, very difficult. And all of a sudden, you're like, maybe there's going to be something here when it comes to this match, and maybe he actually makes it close to the end, giving himself a chance to win. He got taken down, got an escape, and then it was another escape, down 3-2, and then Gable gets out in the 3rd period. So it's 4-2, or something along those lines. But it'd be amazing to me to think that if you were Gable Steveson, you were in good shape. And if you were Wyatt Hendrickson, you were also in good shape, because you were like, if I could only be down 4-2 going into that 3rd period, I'll take that every day. Naturally, then Gable started turning it on a little bit in the 3rd period and almost took him down along the edge. And then upon that final restart with about 40-something seconds left, that's when Wyatt was starting to push forward, had some great level changes, shot in nice and low, got in on the single leg, and just kept knee sliding forward, chased that double, got his head to the outside, excuse me, and finished off that double for a go-ahead takedown and rode him out for 15 seconds, where I think he just absolutely stunned Gable. And being in that arena last night, I'll always remember that, because I never heard a roar that loud before. The entire arena erupted. I thought the roof was going to blow off. Everyone just rose to their feet. You almost couldn't see the action in the middle, because, again, I was on the floor on my chair. I'm like, I saw the takedown. Everyone just came up and rose to their feet. And then another roar happened when Gable was starting to stand up, and Wyatt mat returned him, or basically just broke him down off to the side and flattened him out again. And then you see David Taylor and the entire Oklahoma State corner going absolutely bonkers. It was insane. Absolutely insane. We had to lead off with that, and I don't know what to say other than I've never seen anything like that. I got into the tunnel right afterwards as well, as soon as he won, and the reaction, I mean, it was like he was on a high that he'll never come off of, and I can't wait to see more of Wyatt Hendrickson on the international level, the senior level. He's going to keep training for this next Olympic cycle right down there in Stillwater. I'm excited to see what he can do on the international level. Can he make a run at the Olympics? He's beaten, essentially, if Gable's going to run it back for 2028, I know he wasn't on the Olympic team this past cycle just because of his obligations with the WWE, and he really couldn't come back that soon. But I would imagine Gable's going to be the guy to beat for that spot in the Olympics, and now he's beatable. Wyatt Hendrickson just beat him. You can't convince me otherwise that Wyatt Hendrickson now can't use this as a catapult to say, I'm going to make a run at the Olympics now. I'm going to make a run to beat Gable Steveson again along my way to representing the United States, which he already does with serving in the Air Force. But I'm going to make a run for the Olympics in Los Angeles in 2028 before he goes off fully into his military career. So that was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Still can't believe it. The morning after, I'm speechless. The other champions, I'll go through it. But I do want to talk about Carter Starocci first, just because that he also made history. He gets his 5th national title. Great match with Parker Keckeisen. Keckeisen really did as well as he could, but I think it's almost like, not that it was a foregone conclusion, and it's nothing against Parker Keckeisen, who's a 3-time finalist and a national champion in his own right, but he ran into 2 all-time greats in the last 3 years. He ran into Aaron Brooks 2 years ago, and then he ran into Carter Starocci last night. Tough draw. A very tough draw. Parker Keckeisen, if it weren't for running into Brooks or Starocci, we might be talking about a 3-time national champion in Parker Keckeisen and saying, this guy's one of the greatest that we've ever seen in the history of college wrestling, for how dominant he was, especially over the last 2 years, en route to his national title last year. And then what he did this year, basically just, he manhandled opponents day in and day out. So tip of the cap to Parker Keckeisen, but Carter Starocci, 5-time champ. No one's ever going to be able to do that again unless the NCAA grants that actual 5th year of eligibility officially for all athletes, regardless. You get 5 years to compete in college. on 5 varsity seasons without, a COVID pandemic. No one's ever going to do this again. At least they even have the chance to do it again. And even if they had a chance to do it again, I don't know if anybody would ever win 5 national titles again, like Carter Starocci. He's a different cat. He's going to make a run at the Olympics now in 2028. Carter Starocci, very special individual. I personally saw it coming. It was a very close match. And I think he was stalling towards the end of the match, where he was just backing out, but which made the score 4-3, made it a little bit closer. But Parker Keckeisen was in on a shot in the first period, and he would finish this shot on anybody in the country. Maybe on anybody at 174, and perhaps anybody on 197. That's how good it is. He wasn't finishing on Carter Starocci. It just goes to show you how good Starocci is, especially in those very fun, those little details when it comes to wrestling. And I think Cael Sanderson said it after the tournament. He mentioned how Starocci's technique actually just got better year to year, which you don't really see often, especially for veteran guys, where there are years where their technique gets better. They might have a dip, but he just kept getting better and better and better, especially in a 5th year where we've seen a lot of 5th, 6th, 7th year guys, particularly with the COVID waiver, where these guys are just older, their bodies are worn down. Maybe there's mental burnout. Sometimes they take a dip during that final year. They're not quite the same. He just kept getting better. You couldn't go into a single match with Carter Starocci and think, yeah, this is the day he finally loses. Hasn't lost in forever. I don't even know what his match win streak is off the top of my head. Can't even remember the last time he lost. It's unbelievable. Carter Starocci, tremendous stuff. And you have the 2 biggest storylines. You have a 5-time champ, and you have the biggest upset we've ever seen. I think that certainly capped off a great night of college wrestling in the national finals last night. The other champions, Vincent Robinson from NC State 125, back and forth affair with Troy Spradley, went to tiebreakers. No takedowns scored in that match, but good on Robinson, who was the 4th seed. He had a very, very tough tournament. Nearly lost in the second round to Princeton's Mark Anthony McGowan. Needed a takedown with seconds left to win. He had a close one with Rutgers' Dean Peterson 4-2. Beat Lehigh Sheldon Seymour 4-2, and then a 2-1 tiebreaker win over Spradley. So every match aside from Robinson's first, which was a 12-1 major decision, razor-thin margin. It just goes to show you how difficult it is to win the national tournament and how the whole bracket could have been turned on its head if one result goes the other way. So big tip of the cap to the freshman Robinson. Lucas Bird, tiebreakers over Drake Ayala, proving it was no fluke. The Illinois 33-pounder getting it done. Great match there, 141. How about Jesse Mendez and Brock Hardy? They put on a show. Mendez winning his 2nd straight title. Hardy got a takedown in a turn in the first period. You're like, oh, my God, he is going to do it. And sure enough, Mendez, the gamer he is, battled back, takedowns, turns, wins at 12-9, had riding time as well. Jesse Mendez, just so awesome to watch. That was fun considering Bo Bartlett pretty much had his number this year, and he beat Bartlett this time. I think he lost him 3 times this year, and he beat him this time in the semifinals in tiebreakers. Just, hats off to Bo Bartlett as well. He had a tremendous career for Penn State. I know he didn't get it done in the end, but what a great wrestler to watch. And, Jesse Mendez just getting it done. 149, Ridge Lovett, 1-0 over Caleb Henson, very similar to their semifinal match last year. Denied Henson of a 2nd straight title. Lovett just goes to show you how good he is on top. He turned for Shane Van Ness again in the semifinals, and I think that really affected the game plan of Caleb Henson in this match. And, we expected fireworks. We saw some great scrambles, but Henson, unfortunately, just couldn't score, couldn't get it done there. And Lovett shut him out. And those are 2 really good friends. Lovett, I feel really good about him, considering he was a national finalist before, and he, finally climbed the mountain. He had a long career in Nebraska, and it was good to see the elation from Ridge Lovett when he realized he finally won a national title. Nebraska had one heck of a tournament, 3 straight finalists, 41, 49, 57. Antrell Taylor getting it done over Joey Blaze of Purdue, 4-2. Great on Taylor. Wrote a story about him leading into the finals. Just a great story. Personal tragedy, losing his father, losing his brother. It's to overcome a lot of that and to get it done in a bracket where he was the 3 seed. He got through some really tough guys, beat Cornell's Meyer Shapiro, who's a very popular pick to win the whole thing, beat him 7-2 in the semis. Just a great run by Antrell Taylor. 65, Mitchell Messenbrink, pretty much what we expected. Mikey Caliendo has certainly closed the gap a little bit, but Messenbrink his 6th win over Caliendo, which is kind of bonkers when you really think about it, considering how good Caliendo is. But he just runs into Messenbrink. This one was an 8-2 win. He got a late takedown. Messenbrink. It was pretty much a 1 takedown match, but Messenbrink got a late one to clinch it. So it wasn't that dominant of a victory. It was just a controlling victory. But Messenbrink has been doing this all year. Hasn't lost, obviously. And again, he's beaten his biggest foe, or his toughest foe, now 6 times in their career. Messenbrink gets his first national title for Penn State. 74. Dean Amity, wow. I mean, you want to talk about a heck of a tournament coached by David Taylor. 2 champs, 3 finalists. Dean Amity, coming off a blood round finish for Wisconsin last year, 2-time All-American for the Badgers, transfers to Oklahoma State for his final year, gets it done. He's got to beat Levi Haynes first, last year's champion at 157, beats him 4-2 in the semis with that takedown, the only takedown of the match, and then he runs it back with Keegan O'Toole, another overtime match. This time he comes out on top, the scrambling, just a lead from Dean Amity, including, I think it was about a minute. He was bouncing on 1 foot in the first period. O'Toole could not take him down. I couldn't believe it, and I love Keegan O'Toole. Really thought he was going to win his 3rd national title this weekend, but Dean Amity, what a run by him. His only loss was to O'Toole 2 weeks ago in the Big 12 finals, and sure enough, he gets his payback there and ends his career on top. Just feel really good about Dean Amity, just turning it up a notch and leveling up in his final year of college wrestling. We already mentioned 84 and 97 finally. Stephen Buchanan in a weight class there where Jacob Cardenas beat Buchanan last week, and Cardenas also got his payback on Penn State's Josh Barr. He was the 1 seed, but Barr won 4-3 in the semis. Great on the redshirt freshman from Penn State, because when you look at, I think he came into the tournament with a bunch of injuries, and he was a little dinged up and managed to make a run to the finals. Great tournament by him, including him. He had a sudden victory win in the 2nd round over Oregon State's Trey Munoz. So, he almost got picked off early on, but managed to get it done. Stephen Buchanan from Iowa, his final year, first guy to ever All-American for 3 different schools. He was dominant through the first 3 matches, major, tech, and then he took out AJ Ferrari this time, shut him out, actually. Ferrari ended up finishing 3rd, but it's amazing that a guy like Ferrari, who just, it's so hard to score on him. Buchanan beat him 3-0, and he rode him out. He rode out Ferrari, which I didn't expect that at all. I know how tough Buchanan is, but I didn't think he was going to ride out Ferrari, so he gets that done, and he gets a late takedown to beat Josh Barr. That was a deciding factor in that 97-pound final. So Iowa gets a champion. So a little bit of a monkey off the back of Iowa. They do get a team trophy at 4th place, but Buchanan, that was a nice way to end his career, with Wyoming, Oklahoma, and now finishing up with the Hawkeyes. Just a great tournament by Buchanan, who's been pretty much the best guy all season long, and he proved it in the end. So those are the finals. That's the recap right there. And it's hard to really dive into anything else other than, Wyatt Hendrickson stole the show with the biggest upset in college wrestling history. I'm still in shock and awe. Can't believe it. It is just truly, truly amazing. I want to mention some of the guys that didn't win the national title, but a guy like Max McAnally from Minnesota, who have been high on all year, took Parker Keckheisen into the wire in that semifinal, 184. And McAnally had a great backside in the consolation semis. He beat Jackson Smith of Maryland, who's really, really good in sudden victory. And then he took on Oklahoma State's Dustin Plott, who's, if it weren't for a guy like Parker Keckheisen, Plott might be a guy with the accolades of Parker Keckheisen. And then he beat him 6-5 with 2 takedowns in the last 30 seconds of the match. McAnally, wow, what a tournament. His only losses in his career right now are to they're only to Carter Starocci and Parker Keckheisen. Go figure. 2 all-time greats in the same year. Unbelievable. Max McAnally, 3rd place. That guy has 3-time champ stuff written all over him. Elsewhere, Levi Haynes finished 3rd, 174 for Penn State. Let's see. Peyton Hall, a great tournament by him, 165. West Virginia, he finished in 3rd. Terrell Barraclaw, I was talking to Adam Hall as well after the tournament. Ahead of the finals, the Utah Valley head coach Terrell Barraclaw leaves Penn State for his grad year, goes back home to Utah, wrestles for Adam Hall, first year fully in the varsity lineup. I know he fell short of a championship. He got to the quarterfinals, lost to Chris Minto of Nebraska, and another impressive freshman, lost 8-7, but he wrestled back, got through the blood round, and then he beat Oklahoma State's Cam Amin. So he beat Hamilton of Virginia, beat Amin of Oklahoma State. He fell short of Peyton Hall, but he ended up beating Hunter Garvin of Stanford. and he finished fifth. So Barracaw ends his career on top, at least, with a win. So it was good to see. A great tournament by him. Kasak finished third after he was picked off early by Blaze. I mentioned Shapiro, Meyer Shapiro, by the way. The fact that he revealed that he was in a coma a month ago because of his, previous concussions. I believe he said he had seizures. The fact that he was able to wrestle after that is just mind-boggling. He won the Ivy League title 2 weeks ago, which was amazing to see, especially up close in person, talking, interviewing him on the broadcast afterwards. He was just so grateful. And then this year, I know he fell short of a national title, but he's a 2-time All-American. Finished with a win, got fifth place. He fell to Kasak 4-2, which was everyone's expected national final, and they had to wrestle in the consolation semifinals. Truly unbelievable. But he does beat Zerbin of Northern Colorado and gets a win to finish in fifth place. Elsewhere, Shane Van Ness, another great tournament by him for Penn State, finishing third. Shout out Sammy Alvarez from Ryder, former Rutgers and Oklahoma State wrestler. He was a coach's All-American for the Scarlet Knights as a freshman in 2020 for that canceled tournament. Was the 10th seed as a true freshman. But, I mean, he's had a wild career, really, really good at Rutgers, but weight issues, really couldn't keep it down, and then moved up a weight class. It stunk for him, as I know, he would have liked to, maybe finish in one spot, but everything happens for a reason. Transfers to Oklahoma State, doesn't really get the spot there during his year and a half in Stillwater. Actually lost out to teammate Jordan Williams, who ended up leaving Oklahoma State, went to Little Rock, and sure enough, those two guys wrestled in the blood round this year. And Alvarez beat him, which was crazy to see. Beat him 5-0. He fell to the 7th place match, but he got a sudden victory win over Drexler of North Dakota State, who he beat in the first round as well. So he beat him twice in this tournament. Alvarez finishing his career with a win. Amazing to see from Sammy Alvarez. And I know he was very grateful to finish his story the way he wanted to, finishing in 7th place as an All-American in 2025. Some other news and notes. Great run by CJ Composto from Penn, got 4th place, just edged out by Bo Bartlett in that final 3rd place match at 141. 133, Zan Fugit for Wisconsin. What a run by him, got to the semis, ended up finishing in 4th place. He was the 14th seed in Wisconsin. You got to feel good for them. They had a tough dual season, but Fugit, the 14th seed, wins first round. Then he beats Nasir Bailey, who was a national championship, my national championship pick, beat him in sudden victory, and then he pinned Connor McGonigal in the quarterfinals and fell short to Drake Ayala in the semis. But Fugit wrestled back, took 4th. Great run by him for the Badgers. And then 125, Luke Lillidahl, maybe breaking the Penn State 125 curse. He finished in 3rd place, beating Matt Ramos, which was he pinned him late in the match, which was great to see. So what a tournament in Philadelphia. I'm glad it was close by. Short drive for me, obviously, relatively speaking, just an hour away. I didn't have to fly this year, and I was able to get this content up and rolling here on this Sunday morning as well. So wrestling season is over. We'll do some podcasts throughout the offseason, maybe some other recaps, talk to some other broadcasters, members of the media, and, of course, we'll try to get as many coaches on as possible in the reaction of this tournament. Of course, when we roll back around for our summer previews, it was a heck of a season. Glad you guys all followed along, either right here on 3 or ESPN Plus, and, of course, for Rutgers University on Big Ten Plus and ScarletKnights.com. Heck of a season. Can't wait to do it again in 25-26. So until then, we'll roll around with some off-season content here on 3 Wrestling. But until then, enjoy relishing in a great national tournament. We'll be back with some more recap content as the days and weeks roll by. Till then, On3 Wrestling. Check out our content at on3.com. Follow me on Twitter. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video and like the podcast as well. Appreciate you guys. On3 Wrestling right here on on3.com.